Hello and welcome to Cricket on Air, where we are your three hosts, Shri, Deepika and Himanshu, ready to take you on a fun-filled ride of another episode.
But before that, guys, let's just get into our opening round, cracking up. Let me ask you a few questions, Himanshu and Deepika, and let me see how you can answer them. Why has the new Kochi franchise changed their name from Indy Commandos to Kochi Tuskers Kerala?
Ha! That's easy, because the genius who came up with the name Indy Commandos forgot which region or city the team is going to be from.
Yeah, but then why put Kerala at the end, guys? Why not simply have Kochi Tuskers?
Probably to make sure everyone knows where Kochi is in case they don't know about it. Okay, I think I might just have angered Srishant.
You're in big trouble.
I know.
Right, now he's gonna ball all those 150k full tosses at you, Shri.
Over my head.
And he's going to do that lovely dance that he's popular for with the bat on your head.
I'm ready. Bring it on, Srishant. If you're listening to this, bring it on.
Srishant की बात से याद आया मेरे को. When Srishant comes to bowl to you, you can easily raise both your arms at him and go, Shri, shant ho ja, Shri. Actually, guys, talking about Shri Shant, if you think about it, our pace bowlers, the youngsters, one is Shri Shant, the other is called Ishant.
Ishant.
Ishant. If you put them together, it's like Shri Ishant. How about that?
I thought you were saying Ishant means he's an electronic Shant.
Okay. The engineer inside Shri always comes out.
That's enough of cracking up today, guys. When we come back, we'll be talking to Aakash Chopra about a wide variety of topics, about the World Cup, about Indian cricket, and of course about the IPL. Stay tuned. Friends, we have a very special guest with us today. An opening batsman for India, he opened the innings with Virendra Sehwag. Together, they gave India the kind of starts that made the Dravids, Tendulkars, Gangulis and Lakshmans have an easier life. And not to mention some of the stunning catches that he took when standing close to the batsman. It meant that he was compared with the great Eknath Solkar. A voracious reader, a columnist, an author and a well-known cricket expert in the media these days, our guest today is Aakash Chopra. Aakash, thank you so much for talking to Cricket on Air.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, so I have to begin by asking you this, Aakash. The ICC Cricket World Cup recently ended and India went on to be the victorious team. It was a fantastic tournament. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a dream come true. Obviously, we have waited quite a long time. It took about 28 years to come back to India. Yes, we got close in 2003, but that was also 8 years ago. And we had a horrendous 2007 World Cup, so we had a lot to achieve, and that's what this Indian team has done. They've gone ahead and won the World Cup, and did it in style as well. Right from the quarterfinals, we defeated Australia, then Pakistan, and then Sri Lanka in the finals. I think it was outstanding, and how I see this World Cup is that it is going to change the canvas of cricket in India and perhaps international cricket too, because a lot of people, a lot of kids, including myself, took up cricket because Kapil Dev lifted that trophy in 1983, and now 2011 victory will do the same, if not more.
Right.
And what I see for Indian cricket in the future is that it should not be just an end of a dream or a culmination of a dream, but a beginning of a new era. An era in which Indian cricket will dominate world cricket and will become the epicenter of international cricket and talent and what have you. So that's what I'm expecting from this World Cup.
That's a great way to put it. Let me ask you about this. What do you think was like the turning point or the most important moment in this World Cup for India?
I think the most important the turning point of India's World Cup campaign was Yuvraj Singh's form, because not just with the bat but also with the ball, because we were a little short on the spin department. Our front-line spinners were not doing as well as we would have liked, and then we needed someone to really step up, and especially when Ashish Nehra was injured, Munaf Patel was not exactly in the scene at least 3 months before the tournament started. Praveen Kumar missed out at the last minute, so our bowling attack was looking a little thin. So in that sense, someone had to really step up, and fortunately it was Yuvraj Singh who not only bowled his spin overs, his quota of overs in almost every single game, but picked up some crucial wickets at very important junctures of the game. So I think Yuvraj Singh's form was phenomenal, was pivotal. Along with that, I think Sachin Tendulkar's form, he's been fantastic, outstanding as he always is.
Right.
And he was perhaps the factor which drove the entire team together as well, because everyone wanted to do it for Sachin. There is a huge amount of respect, and you wanted to give him something for what he's done for Indian cricket and international cricket for the last 21 years. So everyone had this feeling to give him the best gift possible, and which was the World Cup. But then when Sachin started scoring all those runs and was in sublime form,
right,
I think it really changed the way the Indian team started looking at or the entire outlook of the team.
Let's take a quick break, friends. When we come back, we'll talk more with Aakash about the man, the legend, Sachin Tendulkar. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm Shri and we are talking today with Aakash Chopra. The story about Sachin is really awesome. I mean, every player in the Indian team, Yuvraj Singh, Virat Kohli, Zaheer Khan, Dhoni himself mentioned that they were trying to get this World Cup for Sachin Tendulkar. You have played with Sachin. What do you have to say about him? Greatness personified?
Well, he's a legend. He's a living genius. We are just fortunate. I personally feel it's been a privilege to be a part of the same dressing room in which Sachin Tendulkar was present, and to actually witness genius from such close quarters.
Right.
I think he's a man who's not just a role model on the field, but off the field he's an extremely humble guy. And as far as this World Cup is concerned, I think it meant the world to him. Being an honest servant of the game for the last 21 years, he's done everything he could do to get India the cup. But it never happened. But now I'm extremely pleased because his efforts have finally borne fruit, and he's been a phenomenal guy. He's someone I think whatever we say is going to actually be not enough.
Right.
We can't say more which hasn't already been said or written. But the only thing that I would like to say is that you deserved it, Sachin. Just take a bow. You've been a champion, and you've done every single person on this, definitely in this country and perhaps on this planet, extremely proud.
Is there any particular incident that you remember about Sachin that really has remained with you all these years and that will probably remain with you for forever?
Well, a lot of incidents. In fact, I met him at Lord's. There was this charity event we were participating in. I was playing for some English team, and he had just walked in, just dropped in to see what was happening. He wasn't there to actually play the game. I was there with my parents, and he came, he hugged them, he met them, and gave them a lot of respect, which was obviously not asked for. He could have easily gotten away by just saying a hi to me and moving on, but it did not do that. It actually took time out to wish my parents and make them feel special. So in that sense, he's been a guiding force, and even now, if I need to say look up to someone or speak to someone on any issue which is bothering me a bit too much,
right,
I look up to him, and he's always available. He's been absolutely fantastic.
When we come back, we'll talk to Aakash about the book that he has authored, Beyond the Blues, a first-class season like no other. Welcome back. We are talking to Aakash Chopra on Cricket on Air. So, okay, let's move on a little bit towards your book. I wanted to talk about your book. So, you wrote a book called Beyond the Blues. Could you tell us something about how you thought about writing a book?
It wasn't planned as such. When the season started, I thought of just penning down, keeping a diary, and just jot something every day. But how it turned out eventually was something phenomenal, because I could not have written the script better. We won the Ranji Trophy in that season. We won the Durri Trophy in that season. I scored the maximum number of runs.
Right.
In fact, fourth highest ever in the history of Indian cricket, Indian domestic cricket. And the IPL also happened in the same season too. So I think eventually it turned out absolutely great. But yes, it was a painstaking process wherein I had to be extremely disciplined to jot down something almost every day, and at times when you come back after a long day at the field, and if you have scored a duck or something, you don't want to really go down, like sit down and start writing. But then I had made that promise to myself that I will do that and see where it goes. So by the time, during like about halfway through the season, I realized that it had the material to actually become a book. And that's what happened. So I think it was absolutely fantastic. It was a journey. It was a journey which I'm very fortunate that I penned it down to, because it had a lot of stories. It had a lot of joy, sorrow at times, and I think I owe it to the people who love cricket, who think that they know a lot about cricket. I think they needed to know what happens behind the scenes. It's not just glitz and glamour. There is more to Indian cricket than what they actually see on the screen.
So one thing is, the book actually, for us cricket lovers in America, I think the book is not available here. I looked up on the internet to find out, and most of the places show that the book is available in India.
Well, the book is available on my website, which is www.cricketonair.com. So if you order there, we send a personally signed copy and we courier it anywhere in the world.
Oh,
so
that's
that is
great.
where it is available right now. But then we're trying our best to ensure that it still is available.
Okay, that's great information. I'm sure many of us would love to read the book. And one of the big things that came about in almost every article was that the book has soul. You know, there are many books written about cricket by many people, but this is one book. This was easily the best book that has probably been written ever, and this book has soul. How did that come about?
Well, it's a huge compliment, but yes, the soul, I think, is there because it's an honest account. I've tried to be as honest as I possibly could, which meant perhaps rubbing people the wrong way, and I may have to pay for that later. But yes, the attempt was to be extremely honest, and that's what has transpired, and I think that's what has been appreciated as well, and that's what the soul is all about, because it's not made up. Nothing has been brushed under the carpet because it was unpleasant, whether it was my emotions or someone else's emotions, or the inadequate in the system, or whatever else. I think that's been an attempt, that's been an honest attempt, and I think that's what has been appreciated a lot.
Yeah, I think the statement of the book, I think according to most people who've read it completely, was being an Indian cricketer is hell in many ways because of the intense scrutiny you are subjected to by a billion people, but not being an Indian cricketer is worse. How awesome is that statement?
Absolutely true, because when you are an Indian cricketer, at that point of time you may or may not like the attention, especially the negative part of it, which you receive from a billion people and perhaps more. But then I think once you're out of it, then you realize what you're missing out on and what you would be subjected to if you're not actually an India cricketer anymore. So in that sense, I think if you played for the country, you're extremely blessed, and you must relish your time at the top, because if you're not there, I think that life can get really worse, and that can really hit you hard in the face, where you understand the importance of being there at the top. So I think, that's just a reflection of how it is to be an India cricketer in India.
So, and could you give us a quick glimpse of some of the anecdotes that you have, or some of the incidences that you talk about in the book? I looked up and I found a couple of really interesting incidences. One of a player called Yashpal Singh, and the other of a former India opener Sujit Somsundar.
Well, there have been quite a few. What I've tried to do is, since it was a book about of domestic season in India, I've tried to not keep it as Aakash Chopra's journey, because that wouldn't have been fair.
Right.
So I kept talking to people, and then I came across people who had seen life from a very different angle. Someone like a Yashpal Singh, who was lost his father, who's just gotten married, and who was asked to leave Delhi because he needed a job and he could not do without it. So he's someone who perhaps could have played for India had he stayed at Delhi, but circumstances didn't allow him to. He's now working with Indian Navy, and his best years are behind him. But the fact is, he was phenomenal talent, but somehow ended up playing for services, which obviously doesn't get enough attention. So that was there, and then there were other, I think, a lot of other stories as well, which touched my heart, and that's why they are there in the book.
And I'm sure everyone would like to read the book. Please log on to www.cricketaakash.com. That is cricketaakash.com. Time for a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk to Aakash about the Indian Premier League or the IPL. Welcome back. Our guest is Aakash Chopra. Let's see what he has to say about the IPL. Moving on to the IPL, Aakash. The IPL has completely changed the landscape of cricket. What are your thoughts on IPL? Is it good for the game?
Well, in a sense, yes, it has been brilliant. Yes, it has changed the landscape. Yes, it has made a lot of cricketers, the unknown cricketers, household names. And on top of that, it has brought money into the game, which was, I think, extremely important, because it's not your fault if you don't play for India. You may be really talented and deserve to be there, but unfortunately you are born in a wrong era where there is no place at the top. Like, there can only be 3 openers selected at one point of time, and if you happen to be born in an era where there isn't a space at the top, or like the middle orders, he had like the Fab Four, so you can't really break into the side. So, but that doesn't mean that it should be you should deprived of even decent livelihood, and that's what was happening earlier. The jobs have dried up. There are no jobs available on the sports quota. And first class cricket, yes, it has started paying well, but it wasn't substantially well at one point of time, for a longest possible time, in fact. And the introduction of the IPL, the advent of the IPL has changed the landscape in a huge way. The money has come in, the exposure has become a lot bigger, and cricketers have got another platform, I think, which is equally important, to showcase their talent. Because talent without opportunity is as good or bad as having no talent at all.
Right.
So in that sense, IPL has provided a platform in which you rub shoulders against the best in the world, and if you do something substantial, it gets noticed. So I think it's a great thing for a young cricketer to be associated with the IPL, and because it takes you at least a step closer to realizing your dream of playing for the country.
We'll continue this fascinating conversation about the IPL, but on the other side of this break. Welcome back, listeners. My name is Shri, and on Cricket on Air, we are talking to Aakash Chopra today. What about the negative aspects of it? We see players, probably some players actually looking at the IPL as the be-all and end-all of their career. They want to make a career in the IPL. Whether or not they play for India or their respective countries is not a big deal. Some players have actually started retiring from international cricket sooner so that they could just play in the IPL or other forms of 2020 cricket, which pay more, admittedly, but is it really good for international cricket?
See, I don't blame the players, I don't blame the IPL. The fact is, we live in a free world where you should have your choices, and you live by them. If you want to be a T20 cricketer, be my guest. Just do it. Become a T20 cricketer. But then you know that you might just end up playing 45 days of cricket in a year, which may or may not be enough. Because the fact remains, when you play T20 cricket, it doesn't really satiate your hunger for playing cricket, because the canvas is not big enough to express yourself. 30 ball 50 will not give you enough pleasure, or even quarter of the pleasure as compared to scoring a century, batting out 6 hours in a day, or similarly 4 overs in 4 spells is not going to really justify your cricketing caliber or the talent. So in that sense, I think the choices are pretty much clear. They are in front of everyone. So I have no objection whatsoever, as long as teams, the cricketers know, and most cricketers do, in fact. If IPL was the be-all and the end-all of everyone's life, then this World Cup victory wouldn't have happened for India. Because all our cricketers are actually playing in the IPL and also raking in the moolah. So in that sense, there was no reason for the Indian team to do so well. And a lot of cricketers could have easily preferred the IPL money and the fame over an India victory. But that is not the case. So I think the importance of playing for India or your country hasn't been totally lost yet.
That's really well put, actually. I totally agree that the World Cup victory wouldn't have been as sweet if people had just hung up their boots and started playing just the IPL. As a member of the media today, Aakash Chopra is quite a user of the social networks, particularly Facebook and Twitter. That's what we ask him next on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. And Aakash, just like most people of today's generation, you are very, very active on social networks. And for some of us who stay in Silicon Valley, who are here where the Facebooks and the Twitters of the world have been started, it's really a great thing to be able to connect with someone like you and with someone like even other cricketers through these awesome platforms. Tell us a little bit about your Facebook and Twitter presence and how we could follow you and how listeners could connect with you.
Well, Twitter is something which I find which catches my fancy a lot more than Facebook, because obviously Facebook has its limitations, and I think it's a more time-consuming process, which obviously I don't have that much time.
Right.
So Twitter is something which I do very regularly. It is obviously a platform where I can connect to a lot of fans, a lot of people who want to know what I think. So in that sense, I am there, and on Twitter, my handle is again Aakash. Facebook, yes, I'm there. I've got an official page which is Aakash Chopra Official. So I am available, I am around, so if anyone wants to get in touch, I'm pretty active and I try to respond to as many people as possible.
Yes, let me tell everyone here from personal experience that it was absolutely awesome reading Aakash Chopra's comments on Twitter while the World Cup was going on. So it was just fantastic, particularly the final, because it was you went on to, you had some predictions about how the final would go.
Yeah, I did.
And they were almost everything was just bang on.
Yeah, generally I stayed away for the entire tournament from predicting anything. But I thought that final perhaps was the right platform. I had a huge gut feeling that India will win, and not only win, but win it with ease. And that's why the prediction, at least the second part of it, got right, where I said that I expected India to win by 6 wickets if we bat second. So that was great. At least one thing came off well. And then obviously it's been a fantastic journey for the Indian team. I've been a part of it. So that victory is equally special to me. So in that sense, I think the Twitter is just an extension where you can be in touch or just can connect with your with people who appreciate reading you or who appreciate what you've done and want to know a bit more of you or want to have a bit more of you. So in that sense, Twitter has been a great platform, I must confess.
We listen to some final comments and thoughts from Aakash Chopra on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We are talking to Aakash Chopra on Cricket on Air. Thank you so much for your time, Aakash. It was just fantastic talking to you. I'm sure all of the listeners of Cricket on Air would have enjoyed this experience of listening to you firsthand.
Thank you very much, mate. The pleasure is mine.
So friends, that was a very candid conversation with Aakash Chopra for you. We'll be back with another exciting episode of Cricket on Air, same time next week right here on Cricket on Air. Stay in touch with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/cricketonair. Until then, goodbye and take very good care of yourself.